This video is gonna be for people that struggle getting into character. People who are usually, in my experience, logical thinkers and not so much feelers. You know, when it comes to like the 16 personality test, for example, you have thinking versus feeling on like a scale. We're talking about the people that are like on the far end spectrum of thinking rather than feeling. People who don't necessarily empathize as much or understand how others feel in certain situations and struggle to get into character. So we're gonna give 5 tips, because that's how YouTube works. You gotta make a top 5, right? I'm making a top 5. It's a top 5 list of how you can get into character easier if you're that type of person. And even if you're not, maybe those are tips that can help you get even more into character. I hope you enjoy them. I hope it's helpful. Let me know if it's helpful in the comments below, and we're gonna have a great discussion about it. Roleplay. First point, okay? Número 1. Make clear definitions and keywords for your character. Chloe said that when she started role-playing, when she started playing for the first time, she made those cheat sheets with like her kind of positive traits and negative traits for her character. And she would always have them on like sticky notes, reminding her what the good and bad traits about her character are, to constantly remind her how that character would react in every situation. I think having keywords like this is really useful. For me personally, I have my own private Discord server where I have all of my notes. Some of us have big notebooks with like a lot of notes on them, which is fine. But then others prefer the digital age. Some of us prefer digital things. Some of us don't miss the pen and paper. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. I know I'm gonna get hate for it, but some of us like digital stuff. So I've made very nice organized Discord server with all of my notes from my sessions. In those Discord channels, I would have a separate one that describes my character as they progress. All of my characters, when they progress, when they change over time, I'm gonna start putting notes in there, and I'm gonna like constantly update their personality, and I'm gonna put their personality traits there and their values, what they want from life, how they view life, what are the most important things in their life. Those are what I define as values. Positive and negative traits are the best guideline on how your character is gonna react in every given situation. Second point is know your character's values. Past, present, and future. Their past being the backstory of the character, what environment they grew up in, what kind of upbringing they had, where they were brought up, what their parent situation is, what their whole like family is, how much they value their family or don't value their family, their connections with people, the overall background story. And their current present is their short-term goals, what they're trying to achieve right now in this moment, and how far they're willing to go to achieve this goal, their motivation for it. And then we have the future, which is their long-term values, the things that define them as a person. What do they seek in life? Is it honor? Is it glory? Is it money? Is it being a murder hobo? I don't know. There's so many different ways you can go with this, but you have to clearly define these things and look at them constantly. Your values may change. You have to think about how all of these things that happen to your character affect your character. Point number 3 is take your time. When your character is put in a situation in game where you're not sure how your character would react, or you feel like this is a very important moment, very crucial decision waiting on your shoulders, take your time. Tell your party, let me just think about this. Look back at your cheat sheets with all of your priorities, values, good and bad traits for your character, and actively think real hard on it. How would your character react in that situation before committing to the roleplay? Don't ever feel pressure to be rushed. You're gonna regret it later. Just take your time and think it through before making that decision. Point number 4. Actively think about your character outside of the game. Now that's a hard one. I think especially for people who are more on the logical side rather than the feeling side. I think the best thing that I've recently done that Nakura, my other DM, the DM for the Dark Star campaign, gave me the idea for is write a journal in character. What I did for my character Snow is I wrote a journal of all the things that had happened to her that are very, very, very important. And I wrote them down in character with her thoughts as if she was writing a diary, with her thoughts on the whole subject, on everything that's happened. And that really like put a whole new light to the character and exactly how affected she is by these events. Because when I wrote down the journal, I realized, holy shit, she would be way more affected by this than I thought she would. This is like life-changing experience. And this is why her persona changed so much. And I think that's the right way to do it. And it felt really good. And you start thinking about your character more and more outside of the games, and you're gonna put your character in situations that could or could not potentially happen. And you're gonna actively start thinking about how your character will or would or potentially could react in those situations. And that's good. This is a good exercise. Final point 5. Actively interact with the other party members, whether it's in the game or outside of the game. It's like there's that mental separation between PCs. The way you interact with NPCs should be the same way you interact with PCs. Ask about their backstory, ask their name, fucking romance them. It's okay. Like, learn more about the PCs because they spend so long and so much effort writing their backstory. They're waiting for you to ask them about their fucking backstory. When you find someone that you click with, you're gonna start thinking about your character a lot more by design. And what I mean by out of character is just have a nice conversation out of character, out of game, about how your characters would react in certain situations, like making jokes about it, like, hey, you know, maybe John was thinking about hitting on that NPC Lydia, but you know, and then someone else is gonna be like from your party, and fucking Derek from your party is gonna be like, no man, I was totally gonna hit it off with Lydia. Like, I've loved her my entire life. She's actually my childhood friend. And you know, you didn't know that before, but now you do. And you're gonna learn little bits and things about these characters and how they react in certain situations by just having a conversation about it. And then you get more curious, and then you start asking more questions in character. And that's how you like keep the cycle of interacting with other PCs and creating new story with them. You know, you don't need the DM to tell you what the story is. You can create the story with your fellow players. Like, the DM is just gonna roll with that. That's their job. The DM is just gonna roll with whatever you guys are doing. And you can make a whole new story if you want. Like, you don't have to. It's not a fucking straight line. It's not railroading. Like, DMs adjust. You know how people in MMOs say healers adjust? Well, the DMs are kind of like the healers, except they have even more power than healers, but kind of sorta in the same position. Just adjust. And my final point, it's not really enough for an entire point. It's not like a 0.6, it's more like a 5.5. All right? Play a character that is not you. Challenge yourself to do something that is completely out of your comfort zone. And especially as a person who is more on the thinking side rather than the emotive side, this will help you This will give you valuable skills that you can then interpret into real life to empathize with people and to put yourself in other people's shoes, because you have played a character that is completely different than what you are as a person. It's actually so valuable. Like, you can literally gain real life skills from playing D&D. Isn't that like fucking mind-blowing? Anyway, my general rule for myself that I use is the 70-30 rule. I use 70% traits on my characters that I do not have as a person, and often I would push this into things that I'm not even comfortable with. And then the 30% is traits that you do have as a person. And those are the kind of things, those 30% are there to help you when you are not certain in certain situations. When you're not sure what to do, you go back to those 30% that you have as a person, and that's where you fall back down to. Go and subscribe, hit that bell button, thumbs up all of my videos, and don't forget to leave shitty comments, especially on my Albion videos, because that makes me more famous. Okay? Thanks. Bye.